Well, hello there, everyone. It is Dr. Siobhan here, founder of Relatable, your marriage coach, helping you to create a happy and loving marriage, all without having to make over that husband. I know you want to make him over, but guess what? It's not your job. It's not my job. It's not anybody's job. So today I wanted to come on and talk with you about a topic that comes up a lot. It comes up a lot whether I'm talking with women in my Facebook group, the Empowered Wives Society, or I'm talking with some of my private clients or some of my group coaching clients. And that is this idea that we, as the wives, are the ones putting forth all the effort in a marriage. And so it creates this interesting dynamic where you begin to sort of keep score, where you begin to sort of count the things you're doing versus the things your husband may not be doing. And this is for marriages of all stages, marriages that are doing okay, to marriages that are maybe on some really rocky roads or some challenging seasons. And so it is a common thing that happens a lot, and in many ways it becomes a demotivator, that when you feel like you're the one putting forth all the effort, you sort of begin to ask yourself this question, like, well, why do I always have to be the one to do this? Or when is he ever going to step up to the plate and do this? And it's something that is common, right? But not helpful. Can I just be honest, right? You know I'm going to be honest with you. So it's a way of thinking, a belief, a mindset, if you will, that's just not helpful. And sometimes we enter into this experience of being the ones doing all the work without even being aware of it. And so today I actually wanted to come on and share 3 signs that are signals to you that you may be doing all of the work, quote unquote. And I'm going to do a little bit of a twist on this, so I want you to stick with me and follow me here. So here's the thing. You are 50% of your relationships, right? And any change in you, any change in your perspective or your actions or your mindset is going to create a change in the experience that you're having with your husband. It's going to create a change in the relationship itself. And so I want you to come to this conversation with me with that in mind, right? And so if you're feeling like you're doing everything, then what does that mean? Take that as a signal that maybe you need to make some modifications so that you don't feel that way. So here are some signs that you're maybe taking on too much or doing too much to try to change things or make things better or keep things on the up and up in your marriage. So point number 1, the first signal that you are doing all the work in your marriage is that you are not spending a lot of time in prayer with God. You're not placing on the altar your marriage and your husband and yourself to God, right? So as our creator, He's the one who knows exactly what's supposed to be happening. He's the one who knows exactly who's supposed to be doing what, and whatever you're facing, how that's ultimately designed for your good and to benefit you. And so if you are feeling burdened by carrying the weight of your marriage, then use that as a signal that perhaps it's time for you to surrender, to release, and to place in God's hands the things you are holding on to, right? And so a lot of women want more quality time with their husbands, or they want more affection, or they want him to, make more of an effort to show them that they are important. That is something that a lot of times it's more helpful to turn to God to, right? Because our tendency is to try to complain and suggest and to manipulate the situation so that it works out in our favor. But that gets heavy because a lot of times it doesn't work. And so my first point of recommendation for you is to just really ask yourself this question, have I fully placed this in God's hand? And is there a way that I can trust God more with this situation so that I'm not burdened by it, that God is a co-laborer in this situation with me? So that's number 1. Number 2, the second sign that you maybe making forth all the effort is that you are in fact trying to control the situation. You're trying to change things from what they are. You're trying to change your husband into being, doing, thinking something that he's not being, doing, or thinking right now. And that is exhausting, right? It starts out with like these little suggestions like, hey, it might be nice if you do this. Then we go into criticism. Then we go into full judgment mode. Then we get resentful. That is exhausting. And so I encourage you again to take your hands off of him sometimes. That the things we see in our husbands, the areas that maybe we want him to improve, or the different experiences we want to be having in our marriages, sometimes are not for us to create. Sometimes he has to get there on his own. Sometimes the situation has to work itself out the way it's going to work itself out. And so instead of exhausting yourself by trying to control and, veer and manipulate situations and to manipulate him or to guilt him into doing certain things, take that as a signal when you're exhausted that you just need to take your hands off. Right? You've heard the song, Jesus Take the Wheel. That's one option. But either way, you got to take your hands off the wheel and let nature take its course. Let God do the work there. And then the third thing is, if you find yourself wanting to work on your issues all the time. So what do I mean by that? How is that a sign that you're doing too much? Well, here's the thing. Talking about your issues, talking about the problems, trying to find resolutions sometimes is not the best approach. Not to say that there aren't things that you need to be working on, or conversations you need to have, or mutual understandings that you need to come to. But the reality is sometimes you need a break from all that. That for us as women, we are conditioned to want to talk it out. That makes us feel better. But for men, talking it out or rehashing issues or trying to find solutions when there's no solution in their mind to be found is exhausting. It is actually like painful for them. There's something about the way that they were created, their brain chemistry, their hormone mixture, that makes some of these conversations that we want to have, that we feel great about afterwards, it makes it painful for them. And actually there's research to show that for difficult conversations or challenges that men have, when we're talking about them with them, it takes them 7 times longer to recover from those conversations than it does for us. And so perhaps the path of least resistance for you in working on your issues is to not work on your issues, but to work on your strengths, to focus on what is working in the marriage, to focus on how you can have fun together rather than highlighting the deficits of what you're not doing together. So start small. Start with one small action that's just fun and lighthearted and not a big deal, right? That will just open the door and build up goodwill, putting deposits into your marriage bank and your love account that make it a little bit easier to navigate some of those bumps in the roads that inevitably, come up. So those are the 3 signs that I have for you. Again, you are probably making forth all the effort when you're not giving it over to God, because he can make the path so much smoother than you can. When you're trying to control the situation or control your husband, and when you feel like the thing you need to be doing is working on your issues, talking about your issues, and in fact, in all of those scenarios, right, the best place for you to be is to just take your hands off of it and give it to God, let it be, and accept the place where you are with hope that it will get better, and to focus on your strengths and not your issues. So of course, it's easy for me to get on here and do this live stream and share these tips and these tools that you may be saying, but you don't know my situation. Things are so hard, and how can I just stand by and let this happen? Or how can, I just be okay with the state of my marriage? And that's not what I'm saying at all. A lot of times I come across people who are like, we need to be into counseling, like, but he won't go. And so then they take that as a sign that maybe there's nothing that can be done. And I just want to offer and encourage you, like I said at the beginning, that you are 50% of what's happening. And that if you can work on yourself, if you can do some of your own internal work, if you can learn the, strategies and the tools and have some resources to help you manage yourself better in the midst of whatever may be happening in your marriage, things will change. You will gain your own peace of mind. You will gain a sense of calm. You'll be less angry. You'll have less arguments. These are all of the things that as a marriage coach, I work with women to do. And I love it. And it works. And if you're in a place where you're like, man, I could use some help, but my husband won't go to counseling, I don't know what to do, then I encourage you to maybe consider going yourself. And if you resonate with me, if you're interested in learning how I might be able to help you, there is a link included with this live stream where you can schedule a consultation call with me. We can talk about what's happening. I can share with you my perspective and the path that I believe may be helpful in moving you forward. And then we can decide if working together is a good next step. So there you have it, okay? You do not have to be the one doing all the work. And that's a mindset, that's a choice that you can do and think about differently. Let me know what you think about this live stream. Let me know where you struggle the most in trying to do all the things in your marriage. I would love to hear and respond to your feedback. Thank you so much for tuning in and have an incredible day. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye for now.